right, my man. You ready?
Let's go.
We're gonna kick some ass, my friend. What is up, everybody? Welcome. Wow, John, it feels so weird saying this, but welcome to our wild card edition of our picks and pre-show. The regular season is over, and we are back as always. My name is Drew, and with me, as always, is Mr. Newman. How's it going, my man?
Good. The only way this week could be better is if our teams were still alive. But what are you going to do? That's what happens sometimes. So
well, you know, at least you guys at least had, at least half the end of the season was fun for you guys. Ours was just terrible.
I don't know how much fun by the Baltimore Ravens third unit is pretty handily when you needed the game. So no, that other than having nothing else to do, I probably would have turned the game off that day. So
yeah,
but I hear you. At least, we got to the last week and still were officially not eliminated yet. So
yeah, no, I mean, hey, like I said, you cannot ask for much more than that. But first and foremost, everybody, Happy New Year. Hope you guys had a safe New Year's, and hope you're ringing in 2020 right. And hopefully, if you're anything like myself and Mr. Newman, and you love some point spreads and stuff, hopefully we can help you out and start this at least start this first weekend of 2020 off right, as Mr. Newman kicked my ass here in the regular season. But John, it started over now. We're at 0-0, and
that chapter, that book is closed. We read it, and now we write a new book here. And I tell you what, my picks today, as I was doing them, I mean, I don't want to give everything away just yet, but a little bit. I didn't realize that was the way I was going to go when all the smoke cleared, and I looked at what I wrote down. But I trended my picks this week, as they say.
I hear you. Well, guys, just to let you know before we start, as always, we want you guys to call in and talk about the show. What we're going to be doing, instead of, going through just a couple of games, since there are so few, what we're going to do is myself and John, we're going to pick against the spread and against the over-under for each game. So both of us are going to have two picks for each one. And if you guys have any questions, if you'd like to call in and say why your team is going to win, whatever it may be, please call in, talk with us. This show, as we say all the time, it's about you guys too. I mean, the show's nothing without you guys calling in with us. What's going on, Rob? How you doing? Oh, yes, Jerry Jones is 1,000% the Cowboys' problem. That's been the case for a long time, I think, since I was a little kid and I went to see him in the Super Bowl, even though they did beat the Bills in Atlanta 55-13 when I saw him. But I think he's been the problem for a long time. I think we could probably spend an 8-part series on why Jerry Jones is a problem in Dallas.
I don't know if you saw Mark Schlereth's comments today on one of the shows. He was pretty harsh. And he basically said that until Jerry Jones is gone, they won't win. And he said, look at he brought up the last 25 years. He said, what's the common denominator? So pretty strong words.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'll go that far as Schlereth did, but I will tell you this right now, and I have no problem going out on a limb and saying this. The Dallas Cowboys absolutely will not ever win anything until Jerry Jones at least relinquishes control and puts an organizational system in place that can help build a team. As long as he stays in his same role, then Schlereth's right. The Cowboys will never succeed. If he humbles himself, which may eventually happen because eventually he's going to tire of losing, Eventually, if it happens, maybe that's how it changes, but I'm not so sure. But y'all, like I said, please call in. The link is right there in the comments. Right there. It's right where you can see it. So it's very easy to click in to call in. And whoa, Scott, hold on. Seriously, where did you see this at? Jason Garrett.
He's right. It came across my phone. I saw it. It came like one of them updates across my phone.
Let me hold on. I gotta look. Oh wow, it's on my phone too. Yes. Good job.
Here's the question here, Drew, and anyone else.
Yeah.
For that matter. Like, why are you dragging this out? Now,
yeah.
the last thing I read, his contract actually expires on January 14th. So the last thing I read, how stupid is this? They weren't going to do nothing until January 14th. Let the contract just run out, expire, not renew it, and then they can say he didn't get fired. They just didn't renew. Like, what difference? We're playing semantics, right?
It's Jerry Jones. It's how he wants the optics. Jerry Jones is the weirdest man in the world because most people in his position would care about the optics that like the general public, his fans, stockholders, what they think. Jerry Jones is the complete opposite. He's loyal to the biggest fault I've ever seen on wanting to do right by people that just don't want to do right by him and couldn't give a shit. But wow, breaking news. Garrett is gone in Dallas, and he should be. I think he took a lot of blame for stuff that wasn't his fault at the beginning, but he had all the opportunity in the world to improve. They put the talent around him to succeed. He didn't get it done. He deserved to get fired. I kind of hope, I will say this, I'll change what I just said. If my boy Lincoln Riley, go Pirates, from the East Carolina University, if Lincoln Riley decides to go there, I think they might be able to win then. But that even then, Jerry's got to change in some way, shape, or form, I think, before they win any of the big ones. But I know we're getting a little off topic here, but like it matters, guys. We're here to talk football with you guys. But Jason Garrett gone in Dallas.
I also heard this too, Drew. I heard that they're going to make a front office position for him too.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So he's not going to coach, but he's going to remain with the team in some capacity.
Oh, so he's going to continue doing what he's been doing for like a decade. Well, it's just now he's not going to be on the sideline with a headset pretending to coach. I mean, he hasn't been coaching for a decade. So, I mean, I guess they're keeping him in the same spot. Good for them. What a joke of a franchise that is. What's going on, Donnie? What's going on, Daniel? What's going on, everybody? Especially everyone in the longest yard. What's up, everybody? Y'all got to call in, too. Here, let me put in the link right here. I'm still kind of disappointed that no one from the longest yard has come on in and called in. But before we jump into everything, first, we got to go on and look. Jeremy, that might exactly be what his job turns out to be. The
fluffer. Probably pay. I tell you what, probably pays well too. So.
Oh, I'm sure it does. Probably better than Robert Kraft does. But anyway,
I don't know about
that. Sorry. All right. But before we get into all of our picks today, guys, let's take a look at Wild Card Weekend. I cannot. It seems so weird saying that playoffs. I mean, it's Wild Card time. But as you see here, we've got Buffalo Bills playing against oh my God, I can't wait till their season is over. The Houston Texans. Tennessee and New England, and what I think is a sneaky pick as possibly game of the week. Then over in the NFC, you've got Seattle and Philly, two very underachieving, beat-up teams that are starting to turn things around. And then you've got a game that is just quite interesting to me, and I can't figure it out, which we'll talk about later. New Orleans and Minnesota. So you got 4 games this weekend, and John, I'll tell you what, we went through an entire season of football. It was a little crazy. It was a little crazy. We went through an entire season of football, and we get to these teams right here. But I will say one thing. All of these matchups, They look great. They look fun. Is John there? John, you there, buddy? Hey, John, how's it going, bud? All right. Well,
Yeah, I mean,
looks
there's
like
really, what's
okay.
the biggest point spread game is the New Orleans, Minnesota. And I mean, that's a 7.5 point spread. But all the games, you hear me? Can
Yeah,
you hear
you.
me?
Oh yeah, you just have a terrible lag. You got me now. Yep. All right. So John will be back here in just a little bit. I think he's going to jump right back into it. So while we are waiting on him, like I said, anybody feel free to call on in and we can talk any of the games you'd like until he does come back. But oh wow, we got a couple of people calling in. Mr. Newman, are you back? Mr. Newman, are you back, good sir? Don't know. We will wait on John. But what's going on, Chris?
Is this thing on? Tap, tap,
What's
tap,
up, Chris? How's it going, man?
Oh, it's you. What's up, man?
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Just installing Elder Scrolls Online on a new computer, and anyone that's ever done that can tell you it takes forever.
I hear you, man. So we haven't jumped into our into any of our picks yet, but when you take a look at all these games this weekend, I know you're more of a college guy, but when you look at all these games this weekend, you got 4 really fun ones. Which game sticks out to you the most?
That's a good question. Let me pull up the schedule. I just need to.
You've got Buffalo and Houston, Tennessee versus New England, Minnesota, New Orleans, and Seattle and Philly.
Well, Minnesota, New Orleans should be fun. First off,
Yeah.
that game's not like you may my Super Bowl pick, and you may think that I think New Orleans all the way.
Really?
I mean, you would think that I think that because New Orleans is my Super Bowl pick.
Okay.
But
Very nice.
I think it's going to be closer than people think. New Orleans is kind of a bad matchup with the Vikings.
Uh-huh.
Vikings have a lot of non-skilled talent. But the Vikings have for years had one of the most solid non-skilled rosters in the league.
Yeah.
And the Saints are all skilled guys. The core of the Saints defense, the core of their offensive line, and not that good. But
right.
It's a completely different story with the Vikings.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you. The Vikings are one of those teams that for a long time I thought they were really from top to bottom one of the best teams in the league, like talent-wise, like when it comes to second and third string. And for a while there they were. But they're one of those teams, I think a lot of teams are hitting their stride right now. It almost seems to me like Minnesota put everything they had into figuring out how to be the best version of the team they could be, but then they figured out they couldn't sustain it. And they really concern me heading into the playoffs, especially drawing this matchup against New Orleans, because New Orleans has a fresh Kamara. You saw him against Carolina. They didn't use him much, but you can tell he's fresh. His stats are very, very misleading. They didn't use him much on purpose. I think New Orleans is a sneaky pick. I hate having to say this, but New Orleans, that's actually a decent pick there as a possible Super Bowl champion. But let's see. Before I let you go here, man, you got any questions for the show or anything? Or who's your Super Bowl prediction besides New Orleans? Who are the Saints going to be beating, I should say?
I like Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I do, but just because they're hot right now, the NFL, it's who gets hot win. I think the Titans are hot right now. I think the best team is the 49ers. That 49ers Ravens matchup is going to be like one of the highest rated NFL games of the year.
Yeah.
I don't like Kansas City. I don't like Green Bay. I like the winner of San Francisco versus the 49ers, which is not, a controversial in vogue pick. That's what everybody would say. Or my long shot is the Tennessee Titans.
Wow. Okay. The Titans one surprises me. I think
they
that
can run the ball at anybody.
No, they can run the ball. They can slow it down. I think they can. They're one of those teams. I said it right before you were on the show. I think that this game against New England is a sneaky game and a bad draw for the Patriots. A real bad draw in the first round. It could be something quite interesting. Hold on, just a second. Let's see. Is Mr. Newman back?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yes, you are. All right.
Welcome to the. It's all Al Gore's fault with this internet stuff.
It is. Yeah. Well, Chris, thanks so much for joining me. I know I'll be joining you on Sunday, and for Vintage Break South, y'all should. Anyone that's watching the show that collects, definitely come over and check it out. We break some really awesome, fun stuff over there, and we've been pulling some crazy nice stuff lately. But what do you, hey, Gilmore? Stop it.
Show him the gnarly finger.
I think my camera's broke.
Yeah, I know. I bet it is.
No way I'm this ugly.
Yeah, no, I know. It is true. But it's good to talk to you, buddy, and we will talk to you. I'll talk to you soon, my man.
Later.
All right, so we had somebody picking the Saints going all the way. So technical difficulties, but thankfully you awesome listeners come right in and take over. And keep calling in, guys. Keep calling in. We want more of you on this show. That's the whole point of this. But, John, let's jump right into it. You've got a bunch of amazing games. Let's go to our very first game. And what we're going to do is we're going to take each game, and then you and me will actually go in and we'll give our picks for that game. So we'll start out with Buffalo and Houston. So when you take a look at Buffalo and Houston, who are your picks for that game?
Well, I took Buffalo as a 2.5 point dog using the spread. I'm taking them. I think they can win this game. This game is sort of the most intriguing of the 4 games this weekend. You know what I mean? If you ask 10 people this game, you'll probably get 5 and 5. It's really one of those 50-50 games. It's in Houston, so you want to give the home field advantage to them. It's the oldest cliche when it comes to football, Drew. You know it. I know it. It's whoever makes the mistake, I think, loses this game. And that makes me a little nervous because you got a Josh Allen that's never really been in this situation. I'd feel a lot better if this was in Buffalo. I'm still going to take the Bills. I just think their defense is better than Houston. I think maybe they can force Deshaun into a mistake or another ball carry into a turnover or a fumble. I think this is going to be whoever wins, it's going to be 3, 4, 5 points. It's not going to even be a touchdown game. And that's another reason I'm also taking the under here. I think this is one of those 20-17, 22-14, 22-7. I don't think the scoreboard's going to get lit up in this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. One thing about this, and Andrew, to answer your question, I have absolutely no idea and no, but I'm right there with you. The postseason is one of those times where experience becomes such a big factor in all of this. I mean, it changes everything, but I've told you for a while now, I love what Buffalo's doing. So I've got to go with the Bills here. Also, they're playing, who they're playing. They're playing the Texans. You know my damn rule when it goes to the Texans. And don't think I haven't forgot. You do not bet on the Texans. So I'm running far away from them this year until they change everything about their team. I actually love that pick that you had. I absolutely love it. Buffalo at 2.5, because I think they win this game outright. I think they move on to the next round, and I actually like the over in this. So
yeah, so we're the same, except you're going with the over. I'm going with the under.
Yeah, I like it. So I mean, that those are two different picks. So that's where this could change a little bit. But I like the over in this game for the simple fact that I think Buffalo is going to put up some points. I really do. Houston, I mean, you're looking at 43.5. You're basically saying they got to put up 3 touchdowns. I do think that Houston's going to be able to score at least 14 to 17 points. I think they'll put that up on them. I don't think Houston's going to lay a complete egg and everything. I just have no faith in them. If they win this game, I guarantee you, if the Texans win this game, it's not by 3 points. It's by 2, and it's by 2 points or less. That's them. So I mean, it's going to be close. I like the over in it. I think it's going to be close, but I think it's going to be a lot more high scoring than people think, because I think I honestly think Buffalo's on a mission in this postseason, and the way the seeding is setting up, Buffalo could end up going very, very far in the postseason. And I know Josh Allen's inexperienced, but he's got a lot of experience around him. He's got a coaching staff that's been there before. I actually like Buffalo going into the postseason period in the AFC as a sleeper team, but I've got them in the over as my pick for this game.
Well, one of us is going to be right on the over under. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But we could both be wrong on the pick.
Yeah, well, yeah, you do got that right. That's not it's not like that hasn't happened before.
Yep.
But all right, so we'll move on to our next game now, and the next game on January 4th would be my favorite game, and the game I can't wait for: Tennessee and New England, the 6 versus the 3 seed. So Tennessee and New England. Tennessee is the Patriots are favored by 5 in Foxborough, which is telling because normally the home field team is given 3 points automatically. So basically, they're really only saying that this is a 2-point game where the spread's at now. Looking at this game right now, having said that, now, what do you see? Well, actually, before we get right into that, we do have another caller in, and they may be calling about this game. Who knows? Maybe we'll get back to this. And they just disappeared. So maybe they'll call back. So, John, when you see Tennessee and New England, who you got in this game?
Again, I'm going with the underdog. I'm surprised. I know New England's at home, but I'm surprised they're this big of an underdog. Some people could make the case they should be favored. I thought there was a chance they might be.
Yeah.
So you're going to give me Tennessee and 5 points. You know, their defense is starting to play better. Their offense is really on firing on all cylinders. And New England is not scoring a lot of points.
No.
You know, they struggled in Miami and lost. I know they scored 20-some points, but it's not like Miami's defense is shut down. In the game they had to have. So this team, I'm so scared to say it because it's like waking the echoes. You know what I mean?
Big time.
Anytime you bury the Patriots, it's like Jason Voorhees. The arm shoots out of the dirt. He climbs out and he starts killing people, and then he's holding Lombardi up at the end. So, man, I almost don't want to say it, but you know what? I got to go based on the eye test. What I've seen has been most of the year. Offensively, the Patriots are having trouble scoring the ball to the point where Brady, there's reports coming out now that he's either retiring or he's playing somewhere else next year, if you believe everything that's making the waves on the papers and online. So I'm buying it. McDaniels has supposedly already got a staff in place,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's already knows he's getting a job, and I read a report that he's upset at Belichick that Belichick never adequately replaced Gronkowski for him. So
Boo-hoo.
so this team is not your dad's Patriots anymore. And
No.
now I will say this: they might, even if they get by this game, they're not winning the next one. So I'm taking the Titans with the 5 points. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game too. Maybe more by the Titans if they win. I don't see. I think 44 is too low. I think this is going to be like 28 to 17 or 21. They're gonna clip that 44 mark. But
Right.
you know, I'm gonna take the Titans.
Wow, that's shocking to me. I want to take them. I really, 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 really wanted to take the Titans in this game because I love this team, and I think they're a team that could actually win the entire Super Bowl. I think that if the chips fell and upsets all happen, this is a team that, like Chris Gilmore was just saying, they can run the ball. It can absolutely happen. This team could go very, 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 very far. However, you just mentioned one thing, and that's waking a giant. I think in this game, and only this game in the playoffs, I think Tom Brady comes out and says, "Hey, I'm still Tom Brady. I might not be the Tom Brady of old, but I can still throw together a performance every now and then that shows that, yeah, I'm Tom Brady." I see them blowing. I hate it. I don't see it being a blowout. I see it being a massively high-scoring game, which is why I have the over. I think this game goes pretty high. And the Patriots can put up the points. They're going to have to rely on the running game. I do think Bill Belichick's going to have a game plan that's going to be able to put up some points quick on them. 44, you're asking me for 3 touchdowns apiece. I easily see the Titans are going to put up 4 or 5 themselves. So if this is going to be the game, the Patriots are going to have to. I see the over in this easily, but the reason that you just said of waking the sleeping giant, I was just scared to take the Titans. I'm rooting for the Titans. I hope I'm wrong on this pick. I'll take the loss to have the Titans move on because I just love what this team is doing. But I look at this -5 spread, and I just look at all of it. I look at the history of the Patriots. I look at all this drama that's going on. We've seen this narrative before, and every time we see this narrative for at least that first Sunday, they go out and remind people why they have to use 2 hands to show off all their rings.
Yeah, I'll say one thing in defense of my pick.
Yeah,
Mike Vrabel's a former Belichick coach.
Yep. Oh yeah, he's a coaching tree.
Yeah, and if you look at, I don't have it right in front of me, but if you look at Belichick versus former coaches, he doesn't have a stellar record. And Vrabel's a pretty smart guy. He knows what Belichick does. Vrabel's a defensive guy, so he basically was Belichick's understudy. I think he's going to be. I don't want to say one move ahead of Belichick, but I don't think Belichick's going to be one move ahead of him as he would be someone else who's not familiar with his processes. Right. So I'm going to use that logic, the way Tennessee's playing, and the way the Patriots are playing. On paper, this should be a Titans win, but we know how that goes. You got Ryan Tannehill. You know, a lot of people are waiting for that stagecoach to turn back into a pumpkin and pick this game for it to be the case. I guess like you, I think the difference I think we're both rooting for the Titans. I'm just willing to I guess make the pick and risk the loss.
That's awesome. I give you massive maybe props for that.
I don't know about giving me credit. I might be dumb. So
Right.
You might want to give yourself the credit, but I just everything leading up to this game. I know the game's not played on paper. I get that. I've coached, I played, but on paper, this I just see the Titans being a little
all right.
too much.
Well, we'll get right back to that in just a moment. We do have another caller calling in, and he is a familiar face of mine. He'll actually be helping. He'll actually be helping me on Saturday for a little while. Mr. Dolphin Dan, what's up, brother?
What's up, brother? Ready for Saturday?
How's it going, my man?
Hey, it's going. I had to sneak away from the family a little bit just to come say what's up.
Hey, we love it. So what's going on, buddy?
All right. Well, it looks like y'all were in the middle of it. I was going to talk picks.
Yeah.
Titans.
Yeah.
Taking them? I'm taking the Titans.
Okay, we actually are just finishing up talking about that game. So John took the Titans. I took the Patriots, even though I'm pulling for the Titans. And you took the Titans right there. I took the over. John, did you take the over as well?
I think so. Yeah.
You took the over as well at 44. So we both got the over, but we're split on the team. So I want to hear your opinion. Why are you taking the Titans on this? What gives you the feeling that they're going to go into Foxborough and beat the quote-unquote almighty Patriots?
Well, there's this team that beat the Patriots on Sunday, and
I knew it was coming.
There's this team called the Miami Dolphins. That's my team.
I knew it was coming.
Who just came into New England and rocked them, and we got that nice
that
pick
they
six.
did,
and like we played really well. So
yeah.
I think the Patriots have their backs against their wall, and they now have something to prove because now they're playing on a wild card weekend the first time in a while. So I think that the Titans are going to go into Foxborough and play a solid game. I think it's a very close game. I'm not saying the Titans blow them out of the water. There's no way I can say that about a Patriots playoff game in Foxborough.
Yeah.
But I think Tennessee comes into town, and honestly, I mean, Tannehill's playing well. They got that guy A.J. Brown, the receiver, who's an absolute stud.
Yeah, stud.
Derrick Henry will run right through that Patriots.
If he
line.
plays I said it just a few minutes ago, if he plays the way he's been playing and he can stay fresh through the postseason, he can run them to the Super Bowl.
Right.
He can run that team to the Super
100%.
Bowl.
100%.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off something Dan made a great point here that we didn't really talk about. Is this is a position the Patriots are not familiar with?
Yeah, it is.
So, and I think, let's be real, and no offense to Dan's team, I think the Patriots thought they were going to win that game.
Oh yeah,
and
of course they
now,
did.
Yeah.
So now they're reeling. They gotta fight out of the wild card round. They're not playing well for most of the year, and I think there's a letdown there. I think they thought they were going to be off this week, and now they're not. And I think they're not gonna be firing on all cylinders. Belichick's going to do is try to take Derrick Henry out of the equation. So if Tannehill. It's going to be a Tannehill game. If he plays well, the Titans win. If he can't play, if he doesn't play well, or like that stagecoach turns back into a pumpkin, then New England probably comes out with a win. And like Dan says, I agree. I think it's going to be a close game. Whoever wins, it's not going to be a blowout. I don't think either way. So, and frankly, if it's a blowout, if you told me one of these teams was going to blow out the other one, I would probably pick the Titans over the Patriots. So,
100%. If it's going to be a blowout, it's not going to be the Pats by 20 or the Pats by 30. It's not going to happen. The Titans are too good on offense for that to happen. Way too good for that to happen.
And let's not forget, the Titans took out a team in last year's playoffs.
Yeah,
if you remember.
Yep.
So they know how to take down teams on the road with when those teams have their back against the wall.
And that experience is vital in the postseason.
Yes, 100%.
Well, Daniel, thanks so much for joining me, man. I know you got family,
man.
and I'll be seeing you here in a couple of days. You'll be doing let me get that autograph special live from the Hickory show in Carolina. Thanks for joining the show today, bud. And good luck Sunday for the 08. Never mind. Your Dolphins are playing golf like my Panthers, but I'll see you Saturday.
See you, man.
See you, bud. All right, guys. So once again, Daniel Haloti, he brought up a really good point about the Patriots, and it's very interesting to see so many people jumping off that bandwagon. That's kind of what scares me a little bit at the same time, but you know.
I do too. I mean, I hate picking against the Patriots. It's almost like they take this, they put it on the bulletin board, and then they prove everyone wrong. But Drew, I just don't think they got the guns to go into these fights anymore. I really start to believe that. I think you got two teams here. Here's another thing. I think you got a Tennessee Titans team that's really locked, that's going to go in there with a chip on their shoulder. They're tired of hearing the Patriots and still people picking them. And I think you're going to have a Patriots team sort of disappointed that they even have to play this week.
Oh, no, Tom Brady's frustrated. Tom Brady knows that he's not getting a Super Bowl. He knows he's not making it this year. He's not going to ever say that. He's going to hide it. He's going to do everything he can to keep it hush-hush, but he knows this is a lost season, and that's where I think you're right. You look at this team, you look at it in his eyes. People keep blaming it on his age and all that stuff. It's not his age. It's that he's just he just knows, and he's got that defeatist attitude because this team, let's be honest, the defense is great, but the offense is total complete shit.
And think about this: if reports are true, and McDaniels is building a staff and planning his exit strategy, where's his focus? Like, he's already thinking about his next job. He's not even worried. He's not even focused on beating the Titans defense and scheming against them. I'm sure he is, but it's not 100%. He's not locked in. If he's telling coaches, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm getting one of these jobs. Are you with me?" If he's doing that, he's not obviously 100% focused on the Titans, and that's a coordinator. So what's that say? You know, players take the lead from their team or their coaches. So I don't know, man. This just has Titans written all over it. Maybe I'm really kind of being led into that alley just to get the shit beat out of me. But I'm sticking with my pick.
All right. Well, heading on over to the NFC now, where we've got, like I said, man, they might not be the teams I want, but damn if these games aren't fun this week. And first up, we've got Seattle and the Eagles, the 5 and the 4 seed. Philly obviously having to really win both games to get in. Seattle had a chance. Seattle could have been the 1 seed. Seattle could have been in the driver's seat this whole way, but they stumbled against Arizona. Both of these teams have been up and down all year. Russell Wilson was an MVP candidate, then he disappeared. Now all of a sudden Seattle's signing Marshawn Lynch, who's probably eating Skittles and, I don't know, telling people to shut the fuck up somewhere in the offseason, and then all of a sudden he's playing football. I mean, this game, it just screams interesting to me. I don't know how great football we're going to see here, but this game just screams interesting to me. So when you look at this game right here, John, who you got?
Drew, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I knew you were going to fucking say that. I knew it was coming.
All right, Battle of the Birds. All right. Had to get my Marshawn Lynch joke in there anytime you can. Probably limited use of that now in his career. But Battle of the Birds, I'm going again underdog here. Philadelphia is a 1.5 point dog. I think they're playing better football. I think Wentz right now is playing better football. I think Seattle is a one. We talked about this last week. Seattle's a one-man show with Russell Wilson. You look at that roster. You got a rookie, DK Metcalf, who's sort of kind of cooled off. Tyler Lockett's disappeared. Their running back situation's a mess. They had to sign 2 guys pretty much off the street in Robert Turbin and Marshawn Lynch. Now I know Marshawn Lynch can do some things, but everyone said, well, he knows the playbook. The system is different from the last time he was there.
And there's a big difference between knowing the playbook and playing football.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Teams change their playbook. If you don't change the playbook, then you got teams like the Patriots filming your sideline and steal your sign. So I don't buy he knows the playbook. You're out of football that long. You just don't come back in and are the same guy. And I think, Philadelphia was at this point a few weeks ago with injuries. They asked me to play wide receiver. I had to work.
Right.
But now they're getting healthier, and I think Seattle's sort of a little nicked up, and this just screams Philadelphia to me. I'm going with them 1.5. I'm going with the over. I don't think either one of these defenses are great shakes. I think points are going to be scored. I just think Philadelphia is going to score more of them, and so I'm taking them when you're giving me points to begin with.
All right. Well, you're right about one thing. A lot of points are going to be scored in this game. They could have put this line at 50, and I would have taken the over. This is going to be a high-scoring game. That I think you probably should have signed up as one of Philly's wide receivers. You probably would have similar stats, at least at tight end.
That's what I played a little tight end in high school.
I mean, hell, I could play corner for either of these defenses and do just as good of a job, which is piss poor. So I mean, I get it. It's a total joke between both of these teams, honestly, on that side of everything. But you've got the Eagles at 1.5 here, and I said it the other day. I'm not a huge Carson Wentz fan, but he's been winning me over. I thought he's been playing excellent lately. He started Miles Sanders is someone that I think was overlooked early and is finally getting a chance to prove that he's the real deal. I think he's going to show in the postseason. I think he's going to have a big game, but I've been waiting a couple weeks for it to happen, and I think it finally happens when we get to the playoffs. I think Russell Wilson comes back to his MVP form. I think we get that MVP game from Russell Wilson. I think DK Metcalf, I think they're going to rely heavily on Turbin and Lynch. I think Lynch probably gets 50 or 60 yards this game, which is really what you can ask out of him. He may get a touchdown, but I just want to see him go to the 2-yard line and then throw the ball to DK just to laugh. But I think he probably gets 50 or 60. Turbin probably gets 50 or 60. One of them gets a touchdown on that. I see Wilson throwing a couple touchdown passes to DK and Lockett. I see this being a game where Russell Wilson shows why he was in that MVP conversation for a while. And I like I said, it's a 1.5 point game. I don't see it being a 1 point last second game unless it's a tie game, last second field goal. If all I have to do is win by a field goal, then I don't know. I'm taking Seattle in this one, but I agree with you with the over. You could put this at 50 or 55, and I'd probably take it.
Man, the way you started that off, I thought you were coming over to the Eagles side.
I know. I tricked you.
I'm like, wow, we're both gonna agree on this, and then you
tricked you.
You did a U-turn. You're like, turn this car around. I'm not going.
Damn straight. All right. So now to the last game of a wild card weekend, the Minnesota Vikings and the New Orleans Saints. So in a game of two teams that are, so many weird teams in football this year. This is, in my opinion, this could be the most interesting game and could go so many different ways because these teams have been so wishy-washy up and down all year. So when it matters most in the wild card this Sunday, who you got and what you got with the spread here?
I'm going with the underdog.
Jesus, all underdogs for you.
I took
today.
all 4 dogs, which makes me nervous because what are the odds that all 4 underdogs are logistically going to win?
Well, they don't all have to win. They just got
That's true. Good point. You're right. Like even this is the game. I'm going to take Minnesota. They're getting 7.5 points. So here's what I will say. I think New Orleans wins the game, but I think it's by less than 7.5. So I don't think the Vikings win. I just think the Vikings cover. I think the Vikings are getting some guys back. They didn't play all their guys last week, and they lost to the Bears. And I think a lot of people are looking at that Bears game and saying, see, this is the end of the Vikings. The window's closing. I'm not there yet. Truthfully, I like the Vikings, but this matchup's not good for them. So I am going to I think the Saints win. I'm just not comfortable with that big of a spread in the playoff game. The weapons that the Vikings do have. They do have some weapons, and their defense is not terrible. They actually have a pretty decent defense. So I just think it's Saints win, but don't cover is where I'm going with this pick.
Very nice. All right, well, guys, before I give my pick on this game, I like that, by the way. I want to get some comments. I want to get some calls from you guys in here. So before I give my pick, please click on the link and call in, and I want you to answer this question for me right here. Or you can just call in, and if you got a question to ask us, feel free to ask. But who's your Super Bowl favorite? Who's going to win? What team is winning the Super Bowl this year? Call in, rant, tell us why your team's going to do it. Now, back to the game at hand, Mr. Newman. So you've got the Vikings over the Saints, 7.5, and you've also got the over at 50. This was a game that I looked at, and to tell you the truth, I don't know. I thought about it for a long time, but as I said, for a long time, I think the Vikings have the best roster up and down. So I'm going with the Vikings at plus 7.5. Just like you, I think the Saints can win this game, but 7.5 points is a spread that's way too much to be giving. They're really giving the Saints that home field advantage way too much. I don't understand the whole 7.5, because if they win this game, it's going to be because of running. And I just don't see them winning that much in the game that's that close. And that's why I'm also going with the under, which is where we differ. I'm going with the under of 49.5 because I think this becomes a ground game between Kamara and Cook. I think the quarterbacks both struggle with some decent secondaries, and I've got the under on this one. But before we go any further, we've got another phone call. And, oh, wow, I know who it is. It's NASCAR Radio's host, Mr. Val Mars. Val, how's it going, my man?
Good. How are you guys? I'm not sure how loud I am, but...
Oh, you're good, man. Thanks for calling in and joining the show.
Of course. Hey,
hey,
John.
So what's going on, man? We just finished up, I don't know how much of the show you've caught tonight. We just finished up our picks for the week, but what's going on? You got a question for us this week, or are you here to just brag about how your team's going to dominate? What's going on with you this week, bud?
Oh, not my team. My team's out of it, but I figured I'd call in and check it out. We hate that I missed the beginning of the show, but I was going to ask you guys, since my team's not in it, though, what you thought about the NFC and AFC this week. Who's going to come out? I missed you guys' picks, but which I hate.
Okay, well, I actually got we had a couple of different ones. I think we both agree. We both had a mix between a lot of them. I think we both agree that Tennessee's probably. I think our biggest upset picks this week would probably, if you're looking for upset picks and you're looking for games that could, maybe help you out a little bit betting wise, I think John and I are pretty much both in agreement that the Vikings game and the Titans game, putting money on the Vikings and the Titans is probably the safest bet this week out of any of those games by far. I mean, Newman might disagree with me, but if it's me, my money, I would put it all over the Titans and the Vikings this week, hands down.
Yeah. Well, Val, I went with our picks this week. I went all underdogs, which is sort of crazy.
Yeah.
But I got for winners, just outright winners. And again, this is all subjective. I picked Buffalo, Tennessee. I'd say New Orleans beats Minnesota, but it's closer than the spread. And I think Philadelphia beats Seattle. So I got Philly, New Orleans, Buffalo, and Tennessee advancing to the division round. So that's this week.
So basically, Val, if there's one thing we can say is take those underdogs. But Val, thanks for the call, man. And I guess I'll be seeing you Saturday as well.
Yeah.
But thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
See you, Val.
All right. So like we said, guys, just like you said, any question
It's
you got,
easy.
anything.
You see, Val, if you don't want to, you could still talk. If you don't want to come on screen, you can still ask or argue with us or yell at us or tell us.
Yeah.
Tell
me how stupid my pick is. I don't care.
Tell us how smart we are and sexy. That's stuff I'm used to hearing. So
exactly.
It won't even shock me.
So guys, before we since we did just finish up the picks, we're going to take a little moment here to go over something a little different. All right. So from now until the end of the season, all through the playoffs, we're going to be doing a contest here over at Roughing the Passer. And what we're going to be doing is every single week we're going to give you something to do every single week to enter. And you don't have to do every single one if you don't want to, but some of them might be worth 2 entries, some of them might be worth 1, and every single week we're going to be adding more and more prizes. Some of them are going to be very, very small prizes. Some of them could end up being some pretty big and pretty cool prizes. So we're going to be doing it wild card weekend, divisional weekend, championship weekend, and then we'll do Super Bowl weekend and then do all of announce all the winners. There's going to be multiple winners throughout, lots of really cool stuff. It's not all going to be like cards and stuff like that. It's going to be all types of stuff.
Some autograph
related,
stuff.
Yeah, some autograph stuff, football related stuff. Who knows? Maybe even some cold hard cash. You never know what's going on. So we're going to start off right now with this week's information. And John, why don't you let everybody know what they got to do this week to enter in, and then I'll show them some of the prizes.
This week is easy. You just got to go to our YouTube page, Roughing the Passer, subscribe, hit that subscribe buttons, one click. So easy, a caveman can do it, as Geico likes to say.
Exactly.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that's it. And you're in. We'll track who all the new subscriptions, and we'll pick a winner, and that's this week, and that's cake.
And guys, I'm actually I'm copying the link address to make it even easier for you guys. Right here in the comments right now. I put it up here right now. It's at Hobby Roundup. But right here that I just put in the comments is a link to the channel. So literally all you got to do, go to the channel, click subscribe, and then you're entered. And the first prize that we're going to announce this week, or the first prize on my end that I'm going to announce this week, is going to be, if you're familiar with cards and stuff, then you'll be very familiar with this. If not, maybe your husband is or something else. But it's going to be this awesome PSA hat. Very, very nice PSA. It's a New Era 920 adjustable PSA hat. Very, very nice. So that's going to be the first thing that we will be giving away to winners in this contest. So like we said, for the very first one, all you have to do is go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is it. Nothing else. That's it.
Simple. And then you'll know when we hit the airwaves. You can come on and enjoy the show, talk to us, tell us we're idiots, tell us we're great, whatever you say. It's like Drew said. we both do other podcasts as well. A podcast is nothing without the listeners. Otherwise, we'd be talking to ourselves. And even though I do that sometimes, it's not the funnest thing in the world. So I rather talk to other people.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, before we wrap everything up, it is DFS. It's a little tough with the playoffs starting. It goes a little bit down, so we're going to change DFS up a little bit this week, and we're just going to give you our one starter, and one sleeper that you should start in a lot of your games. And I'm going to preface something just like I prefaced last week with DFS this week, guys. Go with individual games. Unless you're doing all 4 of the wild card games, you could end up, doing some decent ones. But when you get to the later rounds, when there's maybe 2 games a week or a day and everything, go to the individual games and play those games. You'll have much, much, much better luck and a better chance of winning, or even the in-game showdowns. This is when you want to take advantage of those games and the 50-50 games as opposed to head-to-head. But wildcard weekend is that last weekend to really give you that advantage to be able to build a pretty solid lineup. But there's still a lot, you think it's all full of superstars. Well, yes, it is, but you don't have the money to fill those voids. So, John, give me your one starter. We'll start with our starters. So give me your DFS starter of the week.
Man, I think I got to go to what I believe might be the highest scoring game. You took the underdog in this game, so you may not agree with this pick, but New Orleans, Minnesota. And I'm going to go with, I know it's kind of chalk and an easy pick. I'm going to go with Michael Thomas.
Nice.
Michael Thomas. I think he's the best receiver in the game. It's the playoffs. I think he wants to prove he's the best receiver in the game. I think he's going to have a decent game regardless of who wins. I see Michael Thomas having a pretty solid Sunday, and so I'll go with Michael Thomas.
I love that pick. Michael Thomas, I think, is going to have – I think he could easily – if the Saints win the Super Bowl, like Chris said, Michael Thomas will be the MVP. Michael Thomas is playing lights out football. He's absolutely incredible. I don't buy the Drew Brees makes him better. You put him with anybody, that man is going to be a beast. Please send him to Carolina. I'll gladly take him. And Will Greer, he'd make Will Greer look great. Michael Thomas is playing amazing. I like him in this game. I will say this. If you roster Michael Thomas, you've got to roster Drew Brees and hope for a shootout. You can't spend the money on Thomas without rostering Brees, because otherwise there's just the way it's going to set up. There's too few games to be able to build everything. So if you're going to roster Thomas as your starter, which is very smart, you need to stack him with Brees, he's an affordable option compared to the other quarterbacks this week in wild card. But you've got to stack those two unless you choose to fade Michael Thomas. But if you do take Thomas, which I think is a great pick, I highly recommend stacking him with Brees. But for my starter this week, it took me a while to think about this one because it just gets really tough for me. But I'm going to go with, I kind of talked about it earlier. I think he's just in for a really big game. And I think that this game could actually be a pretty high scoring game. Or at least I think this guy's going to have good stats. And that's Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I think, is going to have one of the best quarterback ratings of this first. I see him with absolutely zero interceptions or turnovers. I see him with a rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns probably. I see him with probably 60 or 70 receiving yards and a little under 300 yards. That's excellent for my quarterback. That way, I'm using a lot less money on the quarterback, but I'm starting him solid. I think he's a solid start. I think he's the best value for the money quarterback wise this week. And I think you can anchor a very, very solid team around him. And I think he's going to put up some very big points. So my starter of the week is actually Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills.
I like that. And if the Bills are going to win, I think he's going to have a big game. And Scott just put up there. I love Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll argue against that, I'm not saying you're wrong or you're right, is what Bill Belichick's going to do is he's going to stack the box and take Derrick Henry out of the equation.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, Tannehill's going to have to win this game. That's what Belichick is going to make happen. Belichick's going to say, I don't believe in Tannehill. Henry's good. I'll just take Henry out, and you have to beat me some other way.
No, 100%. That's Bill Belichick's game plan all the way. And I still think Henry probably gets 60 yards, and he might hit the end zone, but you're right. If the Titans are going to win this game, which I do think they might win this game, and I really hope I'm right. I'm wrong with my picks here, which is why I made the pick I did. Tannehill's going to have to do it. A.J. Brown's going to have to do it. It's going to have to be somebody besides Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's going to have if Derrick Henry's going to do it, it's going to be off of one or two explosion plays where he just beats the box, because Bill Belichick 100% is going to take him away. He would actually be the guy that I would recommend staying away from, just for the simple fact that he is expensive. You can spend that money in much better places. Now, if you're doing a 50-50 game, something like that, maybe. If you're doing an in-game showdown where you're only playing that game, absolutely roster him out of all the running backs. Just don't captain him. But as far as a regular standard format, Derrick Henry's a tough one because it's postseason Belichick, and that can be dangerous when it comes to being an other team's star. So from there, man, we go on to our sleepers. Who you got for your sleepers?
Well, I always wrestle with sleepers. You know what?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm gonna pick two guys. I'm gonna put them on the same line, and they actually happen to have the same last name. So I'm gonna go with John Brown from Buffalo.
You're going to take my guy,
and AJ in Tennessee. I think for both of these teams to win these prospective games, Drew, the run games are probably going to be negated, and it's going to be on the quarterbacks to win these games. And for quarterbacks to win, they're going to have to throw to a guy. And so in Buffalo, I think it's going to be John Brown. And in Tennessee, for Tannehill, I think it's going to be A.J. Brown. And so I know it's sort of cheating getting two guys in there, but at least they have the same last name. So 1.5, if you will. But, I think for Tennessee, Belichick is going to make Tannehill beat him. We just kind of talked about that, and that's probably why I'm assuming you're going with A.J. It's going to have to be through the air was whether Tennessee wins this or they don't win this.
Well, it's a good thing I took two people because my first guy was A.J. Brown. Absolutely. We just said Tannehill's going to have to win the game. A.J. Brown's going to have an absolutely phenomenal game. And I know they say rookie of the year and all that stuff isn't wrapped up and has nothing to do with the postseason. Well, he might just win it in this wild card game because it does matter. And that's a crock of bullshit. And by the way, guys, please call in and let us know who you think your DFS starter or sleeper of the week is. But luckily, I did have two of them, and I kind of mentioned him earlier, and I think he's going to be the sole reason that Seattle moves on past Philadelphia, DK Metcalf. I struggle if he's even a sleeper anymore. But if you look at what he's priced at, he is. And so that's why I'm taking him right here. I think this is a game. It's the playoffs. Everything slows down. This is going to be a game where Seattle and Pete Carroll are going to be looking for 12 to 14 play drives. They're going to be looking to march the ball into the red zone, take their time. And when they get into the red zone, even with beast mode eating Skittles and not getting fined and selling merchandise and whatever the fuck he wants to do, who the red zone target is. It's DK Metcalf. And I think DK Metcalf, let's face it, if you're playing DFS and you're playing standard games this week, you love to play this stuff and you've got to take some risks. This is a guy that I would take as my flex. I would put him as a flex probably, but DK Metcalf absolutely is my sleeper of the week because he has the possibility, if this turns into a high-scoring game, which it could because Philly's starting to put up points, if this turns into a high-scoring game, DK could easily have over 100 and a couple of touchdowns, which for a flex option that cheap, you can't beat. So my sleeper after A.J. Brown would definitely be DK Metcalf.
I like that pick. I think it's going to be boom or bust. I think you're either going to be exactly right or you're going to be way wrong.
Big time.
I don't think there's going to be anything in between that with that pick. And that's what makes these picks great. You go out on a limb. You know?
Yep. No, absolutely. And Mr. Hamby seems to agree with us as well. So, so guys, like we said, let's take a look one more time before we wrap everything up. John, here is our playoff schedule this week. Saturday, January 4th, you've got Buffalo and Houston and Tennessee and New England. And then Sunday, you've got Seattle and Philly at 4:40. And at 1 o'clock, you got Minnie and New Orleans. So 4 really awesome games coming up this week, John. It's been a fun regular season on Roughing the Passer. I'm so excited for the first ever playoff time of Roughing the Passer. We got to get into playoff mode ourselves. What better than to do giveaways? So before we do wrap everything up, just in case everyone missed it or they just catch everything at the end, let's go right over that giveaway yet again, guys. And John, I'll let you go on and tell them a little bit more about it once again.
Very simple. Very simple. Go to YouTube, go to the at Hobby Roundup and subscribe to Roughing the Passer. Just click subscribe. That's it.
The link is even in the comments. Every single week, we're going to give you guys something different, something just as simple as that to do. Every single week, we're going to be adding prizes. Some weeks we'll add 1 thing. Some weeks we'll add 2 things. Some weeks we might add 3 or 4 things. It could be everything from autographs to clothing to cold hard cash to anything. Who knows what it's going to be? You got to tune in to check it out and follow everything. This week, the very first thing, obviously, is this awesome PSA hat from New Era. One size fits all, so it will fit you in everything. So that contest does start. The comment, like I said, I'll highlight it right here. It is in everything. All you got to do is click on that YouTube link and you'll get it no problem. Just subscribe and you're in, and that's it. And we'll take a look at it. But other than that, John, it's been a pleasure, my friend, and Happy New Year's, everybody. And get ready for a really fun weekend of football. Another awesome thing about the playoffs, it's Saturday and Sunday football. You can't get any better than that. I'll be working the card show in North Carolina. All my North Carolina fans doing some Let Me Get That Potograph stuff live. Come hang out. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff. But till then, we will see you guys on Sunday.